Sometimes it takes so much courage to come here and talk because the words that are coming out of my mouth, they sound crazy even to me sometimes, but that's what happens when you pass into the life after this one and you embrace knowledge from outside of this world and this place. It wasn't always like this. I couldn't hear these things until the spring of 2020. It was 10 years after I died. One of the most interesting things, well, not most interesting because there's been so many, but one of the things that happened to me was I started being communicated to from the Creator, but it wasn't just an audible voice. It was a series of steps. But one of the ways that he taught me was in this backwards, upside down writing. It's like in The Shining, Red Rum. Backwards and upside down murder. It's backwards and upside down writing. So what I'm trying to show you is that the words and letters that I would hear or be led to write down, I mean, it was a compulsion. I've explained before, I turned over wallpaper, actually it was photography paper, and I hung it backwards on my walls so that I could write on the white part, and it was like 9 by 12. I used whiteboards, I used notebooks, I have many, and the information just kept coming, but a lot of it would come upside down and backwards. I would write the Prince lyrics and then I would write backwards and upside down underneath them, but they would express something else to me. So I want to show you a couple of examples of that and then move into where I left off on my last video, and that was how not only the Creator has began speaking to me, but what he has explained to me in visions and dreams and hearings and memories that I have from my life after death, that I am trying so hard to communicate to the world. It wasn't just the backwards writing, it was the Tree of Life. This one I did up here in 2013 in Grand Rapids, and this one over here I did in 2020 when I started hearing, and maps and various things. And of course this is me with the Batman symbol on my head because all I could think was Prince, Prince, Prince. You can see it started happening so much that I even wrote the word backwards. Words back, sword, second coming, COVID, MK Ultra. It was a lot of stuff happening. Here I was just contemplating the word mask and how I would never wear one, and all of these things came. It's the song Mountains. It wasn't just Prince, it was all very biblical. The reincarnation of King David kept coming to me with the Tree of Life and Prince and my afterlife memories. So here I was writing the word David, and it became Da Vinci and D and A in the upside down writing. And then you can see that it turned into the word COVID-19 because we were all on lockdown in the spring of 2020. And it's not just letters to letters, it's letters to numbers. For instance, here, the ID became 19, so ID 19 is what I would see, okay? And then along with this, I was trying to learn the Hebrew language, at least the alphabet. What I wanted to show you right here was when you start looking at the words upside down and backwards, you can see the V and the A here in red can result in the word Vatican. It's CI in parentheses here of the David becomes a CI, okay? And so then you take the CAI as in Cain or Vatican, and you can see how the words began to talk to me. It's like the song Where Is the Love, Black Eyed Peas, the Bloods and the Crips and the big CIA. Simple words like America would become Amalek, as in marked. It's also, you can also spell a crime out of America, ACRIME. It's in the backwards and upside down writing. This one literally came out DNA unwind, and here where it says plan, because I'm always talking about the plan, PLAN. When you look at that in a reverse upside down kind of way, you can see where it's NATO, NATO or Aten. That's where these Prince lyrics would come from. Now myself, I always meditated years looking at Orion. So this word that you see right here is actually Orion, ORION, spelled backwards, because again, everything was backwards. I was told about the DNA unwind and also some kind of redo, some kind of plan where we as human beings were reincarnated or have had a time of trickery played on us. Remembering your afterlife experience and trying to communicate it to the world, how it was communicated to you is like this time glitch that you see here. Several different timelines at once, different worlds, very intelligent thinking mind. I was given my soul purpose in the afterlife in 2010, only I didn't remember it until 2020. I have so much to tell you. That's why the purpose was given to me, because the Creator knew that I would never stop, no matter the humiliation, the chastising, the loneliness, the isolation, no matter what. When I was in the afterlife, I said there is no despair in the world because I get to be with Hashem. And I mean, there's no despair in the world. No matter what happens, it's all so magnificently handcrafted and guided by the Creator, which is what he explained to me when he orchestrated me being in the space place Life After in 2010. When I say I met Prince in 2010, it's true. He was there. He exposed to me who he was. He exposed to me my soul purpose, his true identity, the breakdown of his identity at Paisley Park, the truth about false religion, the Pope, Kim Jong-un, all the false control in the world, the darkness, the occult, the sex trafficking. It's horrendous. Our world is completely the opposite of what we've been taught. And I'm going to say this again. The way that North Korea is controlled, no radio, no media, everything that goes in, food, whatever is controlled. Number of babies, jobs, everything. And everything that comes into America is just as controlled. The media, the televisions, skagazines, all of it. The way that North Korea is controlled is the same way that America is controlled, but in the opposite way. We think that we're free thinkers. We think that we're doing this and we're doing that. But when you see the occult, satanic world, hell, I saw glimpses of hell on the other side. I saw unspeakable things, and it's a holy day today, and I don't want to talk about those crimes, but that's why you see me shaking. So anyway, the Creator knew that I would never stop trying to pass this knowledge, no matter how hard, because not only are they calling America a crime, we are Hashem, God's offspring. We're his children. We're his DNA. He gave us a holy neshama to be protected and to know him from within, and that's what's being attempted at being manipulated and stolen from us by that pineal gland, third eye awareness and control of what we see and what we know. But I passed into the other world, and I was brought there intentionally by the Creator to hear these things, because he told me that in 2020 we would be brought back, or the minds would manipulate in some way that's beyond my ability to explain, that there was going to be this influx of war, and the satanic ones, the Luciferians, they would have war forever, like forever. It's like World War III, Gog, Magog, war forever. It's darker than anything you could possibly imagine, and I'm just trying to spread the knowledge, because America is marked. It's why Prince sang America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and then he talks about communism be the only word that's heard if the government rolls over. So I got a little off track on my video. I meant to explain to you how in this redo of 2020 I started hearing from him, but not in the way that I'm speaking to you now. It was done through motions, steps, and the backwards upside down writing was one of the ways that I began knowing that I was hearing from the one we know as Prince, and I hadn't yet remembered my life after death. And so all of these things, biblical, Kabbalistic writing, numbers, the pi equation, mathematics, Tesla, vampires, Merovingian bloodline, all these answers started coming to me. And at the same time, I was studying the investigation, the death investigation at Paisley Park, and it's been 4.5 years now, and I crush. There's nothing you can't ask me that I couldn't answer, I'm sure. Most of the time when I make these videos, and most time I don't come back and watch them, but I used to, and when I do occasionally to make a shorter clip or something, I feel like I'm watching somebody else. So a lot of times the words that are coming out of my mouth, I pray that they're the ones that Hashem wants me to use, but this is such a crazy, it's Alice in Wonderland, man, but it's the truth, and it's why Eretz Israel, the Holy Land, is being attacked right now in the world. It's why the Palestinian chant is from the river to the sea. It's because if you look at the Masons, the 33rd degree Masons, their emblematic chart, it shows a river on one side and a sea on the opposite side. So the Masons, the free Masons, which are actually the sons of Sam, it's why Charles Manson, Mason is Manson, the words are just intertwined. My goal is not to be really cool, but to make you understand that you too could, would, should be communicating with him and hearing from him as well. And people are always led to go look on the outside, but you have to look inside and talk to Hashem. He gave you your neshama, Hashem and neshama, same words, letters, pardon me. You got to talk to him from within, always honestly. When I ended the last video, I was talking about the Pope, the plan to expose the one we knew as Prince Rogers Nelson as an antichrist in this new generation. Is it aliens or is it a lie in? Is it elite or ET lie? As if the alien invasion has been planned, they say, first contact will be a huge event for humankind, one that unifies humanity in some ways and divides it in others. Our response and the way it is handled will influence our future in ways that are hard to imagine. Our experience with COVID-19 should help us plan.
You better come check this
I
out.
have all the best minds in Europe, and soon I will have all the minds of the world!
It's getting louder and closer. Oh my God, it's them!
What up, motherfucker?
Remain calm and no one will be hurt.
What's up? Get your ass on the floor! Get your hands out of your pants! Get your hands out of your pants! Get on the floor!
You will be moved when the SBG comes to take the chunk of your ass.
When the rain comes, you will be moved.
How and why they would think that they could get away with calling someone Antichrist has to do with his true nature, his true identity. It's not male or female, as he told us in the song, I Would Die For You. And in the song Illusion, Coma, Pimp, and Circumstance, he says, what make a man want to rule the world? Make him man enough to say he's 50-50 girl. And he showed me that he was able to transform in different ways, and it's the reason for the lyric. So just like Victor Victoria played a man and a woman, Prince was also able to show himself in various ways, both male and female. Throughout our lifetimes, our Creator has sustained us, showed us himself in various bodies, and we were blessed in this generation to see him in the body of Prince Rogers Nelson. However, because we are his children, he contractually signed over his abilities for a time to bring this message into the world and who he is, because there was no other way to do it. The others know who he is. They know that he can transform and show himself any way he wants to. So contractually, they chose to manipulate and harness that power by way of CERN, which I've talked about before, Prince R. Nelson. This contract was explained to me in more detail when I was in the afterlife. Everybody knows the Illuminati music industry. It's known as the Devil's Contract, or this here is the Faustian bargain. Now, if you think about the CDC's guy, he was named Fauci too, but it was with the C. So these contracts are real. And yes, he signed one. The only thing is, time was being manipulated and changed, like he wrote about in the song Slave.
Slowly candle burns, where they learn hypnosis. How they keep me under for so long. I need that card to illustrate what's wrong. What's wrong? Well, I tell you, they just keep trying to break my heart.
I want to talk to you about the word Ku Klux Klan, and it's written from right to left. Klu with a K, Klux with a K, Klan with a K. On your right, you can see where the word Klu, as in K-L-U, becomes cult, because the T is slanted, so it reads cult. So Klu is for cult. In the middle, Klux or Lux, which is short for luxury, and then Klan, K-L-A-N, or Kane. But I want to draw your attention to the middle, where it's L-U-C, or Lulu, or Lucy. Speaking of Lulu, on April 15th, 2015, Kirk Johnson, Prince's alleged right-hand man, posted he was hanging in California with his oldest daughter for a couple days, and then he said, "Ooh, look, Lulu." I believe he's referring to the somewhat horse-shaped symbol above in the red. Either way, he's referencing Lulu, the Ku Klux Klan. That makes this an interesting picture, doesn't it? Lulu is a feminine name, and one of the reasons the Beastie Boys sing
Cool.
They refer to this demonic figure such as the Lilu and Lilitu. Then, if you take a look at how the Torah refers to Lilith, here in the Hebrew language, the term Lilith is translated as night creatures, night monster, night hag, or screech owl. Screech owl. Considering what they do at Bohemian Grove, worshiping the screech owl. If you don't know, go look it up. I don't have time to get into it all here. Bohemian Grove is a place that government officials, Illuminati, elite, E.T. lie, they go and do all kinds of crazy things there, and the government is complicit in it because they block off the air field above it, and there's lots to discover. So Lilith, the screech owl, Lulu, Lucifer. Oh, you can find things like how she became a succubus, a temptress, child-murdering monster, symbol of chaos and confusion, much like the album, seduction and ungodliness. They try to put a positive spin on it, but then they call it a myth by her being depicted as a naked slave, I don't even know what that is, with bird wings, taloned feet, and her hair contained under a cap decorated with horns. Now, the reason that stuff is interesting is because when you look at the ancient depictions of birds in the pineal gland, I'm not claiming to know what these are, but when I'm looking at them and taking an educated guess, the wings, while they depict the wings, they also protect what I haven't gotten to yet, and that's the dome. It's why Rome has a dome. But anyway, these are like feathers or a bird. My point is, whether it was way back then or today, currently with the eagle, I wrote pineal gland. So within that, you can see E-A-G-L-E. So it's why the phrase the eagle has landed with the faked moon landing. Goes back to the ones who would call themselves the 13th Merovingian bloodline. This is an image I found online of Lilith. What I want you to recognize is that it's very vampiric, very Dracula. And when I say Dracula, notice that Kula is really close to Cola. Because of the drinking and partaking of blood, because of the eternal nature of vampires, it's all very occult. And I saw it in the afterlife. Like I said, hell is... Not a place anybody wants to be. But what I want to point out is when I found this image, I noticed that with her legs open the way that they are, kind of down on it, it has what I consider a dome. Her legs are kind of spread in a dome. And it also reminded me of the New Testament's version of Revelation in the Whore of Babylon. This bloodline, they consider themselves royalty, and they consider themselves the truth as they've successfully masqueraded for a long, long time. Anyway, this is something that the Creator helped me to write and to recognize about our English grammar, and it's for a reason. It's how they cast spells. Consider the word royalty. The R-O originates from the word Merovingian. Now, when you switch the letters around of royalty, it looks like this, or alt. Sometimes Y, but not today. It breaks down to the code Oral Torah, which is in Da Vinci Code what I'm trying to show you guys, the ultimate truth. And in Hebrew, the word davin means to pray. So the Da Vinci Code, davin, is like davin as well as King David. These shapeshifters, they're liars. They're using MK or 3K. Anytime you see me refer to MK or 3K, it's MK Ultra. It's KKK. It's their lies, it's their divination that they've used to train your mind to forget your own power and your holy connection to the Creator by selling us, forcing people into Christianity by saying that Jesus is Lord when nothing could be further from the truth, as we're required to not have any gods except for Hashem, the one and only true. So when you look at these codes, and you remember that the Ku Klux Klan, or Lulu, is code for Lucifer. And Lucifer has the Lilith female quality that, from my understanding in the life after, wanted to ultimately consume the one we know as Prince's soul. Take note that Lilith is mentioned in Isaiah 34:14. 314 equals pi. Now, look at the word vampire. When you do the gematria, V is the 22nd letter, A is the first, M is the 13th, so it's 2213, which if you add is 413. Now, P is the 16th letter. I just wrote it upside down as a 19. I is the 9th letter, so I carried it down. And then R is the 18th letter, but if you add 1 and 8, it's also 9. And then the E is the 3. What am I saying is that when you add the gematria for vampire, it equals 413 equals pi, or 314 in reverse equals pi. What's significant about that, you guys, is obviously we're sold that as the mathematical equation to 3.25 or something circumference to a circle. So when you consider that 314 equals pi, takes us back to the gematria of vampire. That's pretty significant, don't you think? The 2213 is actually meaning in reference to 3121, another song that Prince sings. It's very strange, and you can tell that he's trying to get across a message. So there's that, and also the fact that the 314 equals the pi of the adrenochrome. It's pi. It's like cherry pie. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is introduce you to the Creator's enemies, let you know it might not be as what you've even thought of before. I'll never stop trying to explain what was explained to me as the truth. I just want you to recognize who we're dealing with, and that these people are capable of bloodletting, vampirism, sex and child trafficking, for purposes of harnessing the adrenochrome from the adrenal gland, the third eye, the pineal gland. It's an adrenal gland. It's our awareness of God, and what the adrenochrome is a source of, like a DMT, ecstasy, But the adrenochrome, I'm assuming, I don't remember him saying exactly, but it contains a source of life like our soul for the others, for the ones that would be vampires, the ones that would put children in cages, tap a gland and then refer to it as a fountain. It's the original source meaning of fountain pen. In fact, I was led to notice that at the end of Friends, that's why they have the fountains. And it's all everything in our world is deeply rooted in occultism and Luciferianism, and it's completely upside down and backwards, like the numbers. The enemy, the one that would have the soul of the creator that was signed over contractually and intellectually, Lulu would have his soul as her own for all time. That's why I was brought there on July 20th, 2010, because contracts were being renegotiated, the truth was being laid out, I was being told about how we would be brought back as these future souls that we are now. It's a very long, detailed story. So these others, they would harness and use the creator's power and source as their own, his ability to be both woman and man, Victor, Victoria. It's why Prince always had like a lady attached to him, whether it was Maite or the wives or a female source, Sheila E. There was some kind of I don't know what going on where he would appear as both, and for that reason he was used and abused and his soul possessed, like in the song Possessed. If you think about how only the Catholic Church is equipped for handling exorcisms, you know, this all makes a lot more sense. And I know I smile, but it's because it's a lyric and tearing up, but still they smile. It's necessary. Dancing, laughing, clapping, singing, like King David. He did that. I do that. We all need to do that. It's why music was given to us as a gift. It's why the Creator gave himself to us as music, to make this dark world that we live in livable, breathable, bearable, enjoyable, danceable, because life is just a party. These enemies, there's a timeline for everything. And when I was in the afterlife, I was shown the timeline from up above, and I saw my past at that time, and I saw my future, which is now. So, now we're in that time where there's war outside our doors. The enemy needs to be recognized. The adrenochrome, the souls that they're after, they're trying to bring fear to an all-time high, so that people will be more malleable to taking, more likely to take the RFID chip, which from what I remember in the afterlife, if you take a chip, that chip is going to completely disconnect you from your awareness of the Creator and would make you like an eternal slave and usable and programmable. And you might be led by fear to think that that's the only safe choice. If you were to think that you saw with your eyes, ocular, occult, both OCC, okay? If you're led to believe that you saw something so frightening like an Antichrist situation, or, you know, whatever in the government, the Merovingian, MGT, government, GVMT, all the same letters as Merovingian, the root letters, says here you have to take this chip, it will make you theirs for all time, and your children and your family, makes the adrenochrome accessible, and it is as dark as I'm saying it is. I'm probably putting it mildly because my stomach just knots up when I try to talk about things like this. So the fact that in the afterlife not only my past and my future was shown to me, Paisley Park was explained and exposed to me as this, it's like an occult creation center where the creator could be and make and do and be who he is, and the world just was led to believe that there was music making going on there. But when you get into the investigation, which I'm not going to do right now, and Andrew and Howard Kornfeld, the Moline Landing, all the drugs that were found around, it's because of the psychopharmacology and the soul possession MK Ultra practices that were being practiced at Paisley Park. It's, you know, the clandestine pill presses in California. It's very traceable, and I do talk about it all, and I'm going to continue to talk about it some more because it makes me brave when I do. The way that I was brought up with evil all around me and in my own household, and I think in all my lifetimes that were exposed to me in the life beyond, I have faced evil and won. John Cougar Mellencamp sings, "I fight authority and authority always wins," but I fight authority and I win. So right now in our world, we're suffering from the devil's most heinous crime, and that is to deny us that we each are holy souls, truth in human form, that the Creator himself gave us a spark of his own self, our neshama, and that's been denied from us. But when they tap into this adrenochrome that media denies as conspiracy theory, well, why wouldn't they want mental slaves, sex slaves, people that can be controlled by an electronic ear cuff or a bracelet, or shoes with electronics running through them, or chain necklaces that shock them, or costumes laden with electrical voltage that were actually torture devices that we weren't allowed to see, but I did. So these things, I'm trying really hard to expose them because I'll never stop fighting them. I'll never stop, no matter the pressure, because it brings me great elation to expose the lie that's in this world and to bring truth. It's there's nothing better than bringing the truth. Listen, I know it's weird what I say, that the adrenochrome and the Merovingians and the vampiric 13th bloodline, but they are satanic, they are Luciferian. You can go research this all yourself. If you don't just want to watch my video, go do your research. The truth is out there. Most people are just afraid to look for it. And I'm trying to put as many pieces together from my afterlife and everything to help explain the whole picture. So obviously you can see with me being able to intermingle the life after death knowledge and the whole Paisley Park thing, it has to make sense. So anyway, let me go back and do a little editing, and then I'm going to show you about DMT and adrenochrome, which is a real thing. If you look here in the middle at the word Lucifer, and then read it in the backwards red rum writing, you'll see an R, an F, an I, and D, where the word cipher, like the triangle on Gravity Falls, cipher, it turns into an RFID. The RFID chip is part of the plan.